Baphomet, a figure that is often depicted as a goat-headed idol and associated with occult and Western esoteric traditions. The name first gained prominence in the early 12th century when the Knights Templar, an elite Christian military order, were accused of worshipping a mysterious idol during their secret rituals. Under intense torture, some confessed to revering a being called Baphomet, though there's no solid evidence such worship actually took place. While many believe the term may have been a distorted version of the name Muhammad, misused by Europeans who misunderstood Islamic beliefs. For centuries, the name lingered in obscurity until the 19th century, when French occultist Eliphas Lévy redefined Baphomet with a detailed and symbolic illustration. His image featured a goat-headed androgynous figure with wings, combining human and animal features to represent mystical balance and hidden wisdom. This drawing gave Baphomet its modern identity, not as a literal demon, but as a symbolic figure used in ritual magic and occult studies. In modern times, Baphomet has become a prominent icon in satanic and occult circles. The Church of Satan adopted it as part of its official sigil, while groups like the Satanic Temple have used statues of Baphomet in legal and cultural protests to challenge religious influence in public institutions. To them, Baphomet represents freedom, reason, and the right to question religious authority, making it one of the most powerful and controversial symbols used in spiritual and political movements today. Inverted cross, also known as the Petrine cross, this symbol is actually not satanic in origin, but became considered one as antichrist groups started using it. Its origin comes from early Christianity. According to ancient writings, one Jesus' closest followers, the Apostle Peter, requested to be crucified upside down after Emperor Nero sentenced him to death by crucifixion, as he felt unworthy to die the same manner Jesus died. For this reason, the inverted cross was originally a symbol of humility, sacrifice, and devotion to Christ, especially within Catholic tradition, where it is sometimes referred to as the Cross of St. Peter. However, over time, the symbol was reinterpreted, especially in modern occult and anti-Christian movements. In these circles, the inverted cross is often used as a symbol of rebellion, blasphemy, and the rejection of Christianity. It has been adopted by satanic groups, horror media, and heavy metal culture to mock or oppose Christ and the Church. In this darker context, it no longer signifies humility, but rather the overturning of Christian beliefs and values. This shift in meaning has made the inverted cross one of the most controversial and provocative symbols in spiritual and cultural battles today. Despite its humble beginnings, the inverted cross now carries a dual meaning, one rooted in devotion, the other in defiance. The sigil of Lucifer, a powerful occult symbol that is associated with Luciferianism and satanic philosophy. Unlike traditional imagery that depicts Lucifer as a horned demon, this sigil, on the other hand, represents Lucifer as a force of enlightenment, rebellion, and hidden knowledge. Its origins can be traced back to the Grimoirium Verum, a 17th century grimoire, or Book of Truth, which listed various symbols used in ceremonial magic to summon and control spirits. The sigil itself was presented as the seal or magical signature of Lucifer, used by magicians to invoke his presence and power. Visually, the sigil of Lucifer is made of distinct geometric shapes. An inverted triangle at the base represents the spiritual descending into the material world, while two rising V shapes extending upward suggest duality, power, and ascent through knowledge. A looped X sits at the center, often interpreted as a crossroads or union between spiritual and earthly realms. Altogether, the design is clean, yet deeply symbolic, often understood as a coded declaration of rebellion against divine authority and a desire for personal sovereignty. In modern times, the sigil of Lucifer has been embraced by Luciferian groups and left-hand path practitioners as a mark of empowerment, independence, and inner awakening. It's commonly worn as jewelry, inked as tattoos, or used in rituals to represent a commitment to personal enlightenment and defiance of religious control. While feared by many for its followers, the sigil is less about evil and more about freedom, through forbidden knowledge and the courage to seek truth without boundaries. The Black Sun, also known as the Schwarze Sonne in German, is an esoteric and controversial symbol with deep occult and ideological roots. It consists of 12 radial mirrored sig runes forming a sun-like pattern, often depicted in black or dark tones. Though it appears ancient, the symbol as we know it today is most closely associated with Nazi mysticism, particularly the SS, under Heinrich Himmler's leadership. It was prominently embedded into the marble floor of Wewelsburg Castle, which Himmler intended to use as a spiritual center for the SS. There is no evidence that this specific design existed in ancient times, but it draws visual influence from older sunwheel and solar cult symbols found in Germanic and Norse traditions. In Nazi ideology, the Black Sun was believed to represent a hidden source of power and spiritual energy, something tied to Aryan roots, racial purity, and a mythologized past. After World War II, the symbol remained mostly hidden, but in recent decades it has resurfaced, especially within neo-Nazi groups, far-right occult circles, and esoteric fascist movements, who see it as a symbol of secret knowledge, strength, and a return to a mythical golden age. Outside of its political use, some in modern occult and neo-pagan communities have adopted the Black Sun as a representation of inner awakening, transformation, and the shadow self, the hidden aspects of the human psyche that must be confronted to attain enlightenment. However, due to its strong historical ties to Nazi ideology, the Black Sun remains one of the most controversial and sensitive symbols, often banned or monitored in public settings. Its meaning today is heavily influenced by both its occult reinterpretation and its dark historical past. The Eye of Horus. This is a well-known symbol that carries deep mystical and spiritual significance. According to Egyptian mythology, it represents the eye of the sky god Horus, who was a symbol of kingship, protection, and divine power. According to the myth, Horus lost his left eye in a battle with Set, the god of chaos, who had murdered Horus's father, Osiris. The eye was later magically restored by the god Thoth, and this act of healing gave the Eye of Horus its strong connection to restoration, healing, and wholeness. The symbol itself resembles a stylized human eye with distinctive markings, each part of the design corresponding to different human senses and mathematical fractions, reflecting the Egyptians' deep integration of science, spirituality, and symbolism. It was commonly used in amulets to protect the wearer from evil, illness, and misfortune, and it was also placed on tombs and coffins to guard the dead in the afterlife. In recent years, the Eye of Horus has been adopted into occult practices, esoteric teachings, and New Age spirituality, often representing spiritual insight, third eye awakening, and hidden knowledge. However, it is frequently confused with the Eye of Providence, or the all-seeing eye symbol found on the US dollar bill, which has led many to link it, rightly or wrongly, with Freemasonry, Illuminati theories, and other secret societies. Leviathan Cross, also known as the Satanic Cross. Yes, a powerful occult symbol with roots in alchemy and modern Satanism. The symbol is made up of two main parts. The bottom portion is an infinity sign, which represents the concept of eternal life, endless possibility, and the idea that existence is without limits. Rising above it is a double cross, which in alchemical traditions symbolize protection and balance between opposing forces, like life and death, or good and evil. Together, these two elements create a symbol that conveys power, eternity, and equilibrium. The Leviathan Cross gained significant attention when it was adopted by the Church of Satan, founded by Anton LaVey in 1966. In LaVeyan Satanism, the symbol is used to represent self-mastery, freedom from dogma, and the rejection of external moral control. It stands as a defiant statement against traditional religious beliefs, especially Christianity. Rather than worshiping evil, this symbol is used by modern Satanists to express individualism, personal power, and intellectual rebellion. Despite its dark appearance and name, the Leviathan Cross was never originally intended to represent the devil in ancient times. Its modern association with Satanism has given it a controversial status, especially among religious communities. Inverted pentagram. This is a 5-pointed star turned upside down with 2 points facing upward and 1 pointing downward. Its history stretches back thousands of years. The original pentagram with 1 point up was used in ancient cultures as a symbol of balance, protection, and harmony, often representing the 5 elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. It was even used in early Christianity to symbolize the 5 wounds of Christ. However, when inverted, the symbol takes on a very different meaning. The downward point is often seen as representing the triumph of matter over spirit, or the descent into base desires, which aligns with Satanic philosophies that reject spiritual hierarchy in favor of earthly power, carnal nature, and self-deification. In modern Satanism, especially in the Church of Satan, the inverted pentagram is commonly used alongside the head of a goat, forming the sigil of Baphomet, a central emblem of Satanic identity. The goat's horns align with the 2 upward points, symbolizing rebellion, instinct, and opposition to traditional religious values. The inverted pentagram has been widely adopted in occult rituals, dark magic, and symbolic protest against organized religion. Though often misunderstood as a direct symbol of evil, its use is more about rejection of spiritual oppression and the embrace of human will, knowledge, and freedom. Goat's head. This symbol, especially when depicted within a pentagram, becomes one of the most iconic symbols linked to modern Satanism and occult traditions. It is most famously represented as the head of Baphomet, a goat-like figure whose image was popularized in the 19th century by occultist Eliphas Levi. The goat's head, with its sharp horns pointing upward, its intense gaze, and its often menacing expression, symbolizes rebellion, instinct, and opposition to religious conformity. The goat itself has long been associated with wild, untamed nature and was used in various ancient religions, including in the worship of Pan, the Greek god of nature and lust. However, in Christian tradition, goats came to represent those who rejected God, based on Jesus' teaching in Matthew 25, where the righteous are separated like sheep from the goats. This dual symbolism made the goat a natural emblem for those challenging Christian morals and divine authority. The goat's head is most notably placed within an inverted pentagram, forming the sigil of Baphomet, which was officially adopted by the Church of Satan in the 1960s. Here, the goat represents earthly desires, human instincts, and rejection of spiritual submission. It is not a symbol of worshiping a literal devil, but rather a statement of individualism, pride, and self-rule, all of which are core values in many Satanic philosophies. The hexagram, also known as the 6-pointed star, is a symbol formed by 2 overlapping triangles, one pointing upward and the other downward. While it's widely recognized today as the Star of David and a symbol of Judaism, the hexagram has much older and broader origins, especially in alchemy, the occult, and mystical traditions. In ancient magical practices, it symbolized the union of opposites: the upward triangle representing fire and the masculine, and the downward triangle representing water and the feminine. Together, they expressed balance, harmony, and the merging of spiritual and material realms. In alchemy, the hexagram was used to symbolize the philosopher's stone, the ultimate goal of transformation and enlightenment. Occultists and ceremonial magicians also used it in rituals as a powerful protective symbol, believing it could invoke spiritual forces or contain energy within a space. Over time, the hexagram was adopted into Kabbalah and Hermetic traditions, where it became a diagram of cosmic unity and divine structure. Though often misunderstood or feared when used outside religious contexts, its core meaning remains rooted in spiritual balance, transformation, and the integration of opposites. The Ouroboros. This ancient symbol brings a depiction of a serpent or dragon eating its own tail, forming a circle. It originated in ancient Egypt and later appeared in Greek alchemy, symbolizing the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. The image represents eternity, infinity, and the self-sustaining nature of the universe, something that constantly recreates itself. In occult traditions, it's also linked to alchemy, where it reflects unity of opposites and the eternal return. Though not inherently evil, the Ouroboros is sometimes used in esoteric systems that challenge traditional religious beliefs, making it a powerful yet mysterious symbol of endless transformation. The broken cross, often referred to as the Nero's cross or inverted broken cross because of its design that shows a traditional Christian cross with the arms bent downward and broken, creating a sort of upside-down peace symbol. Historically, it was linked to the Roman Emperor Nero, who brutally persecuted Christians. Some believe it symbolized Nero's mockery of Christ's crucifixion, a sign of rejecting and destroying Christianity. In the 20th century, the broken cross became associated with anti-Christian symbolism and was adopted by some occult groups, anti-religious movements, and even satanic imagery, representing the defeat of Christ or the death of Christian values. While others may view it as a peace sign with harmless intent, in occult or esoteric circles, its bent and broken shape is often seen as a visual declaration of spiritual rebellion. Its meaning depends heavily on the context, but in dark symbolism, the broken cross is widely viewed as a sign of anti-Christian sentiment, a visual representation of rejecting God and the authority of the cross. The black cube. It is often associated with Saturn, the Roman god of time, wealth, and agriculture, and has appeared in various ancient cultures, including in Islamic tradition, where the Kaaba in Mecca is a black stone cube worshipped by millions of Muslims as a central point of pilgrimage. However, in occult and esoteric contexts, the black cube takes on a more sinister meaning. In these traditions, the black cube represents the material world, the constraints of time, and spiritual imprisonment. It is often seen as a symbol of limitation, control, and the physical realm, standing in contrast to spiritual freedom or enlightenment. Some occultists believe that the black cube reflects the binding of the soul to the physical world, a symbol of the need to break free from earthly attachments to achieve spiritual awakening. The symbol is also associated with Freemasonry, where it can represent the building block of creation, emphasizing the material foundations that are built before higher spiritual ascension can occur. Despite its more neutral uses, the black cube is most often interpreted in occult circles as a symbol of restraint, control, and the forces that keep individuals confined to material existence, offering a powerful image for those seeking spiritual liberation.